Welcome. Sea Turtle Mindset. We're about to begin in a short few. I just want to collect my thoughts, embrace this moment. Um, you know, got some really nice music going on. Mhm. Episode 1, Sea Turtle Mindset. We're gonna do this every week. We're gonna interview some awesome people. This first episode is really more about, you know, what is a sea turtle mindset all about? How did it begin? So let's jump right in and let's get this rocking and rolling. So I just want to start this off by saying everyone is born a sea turtle, but raised as a land turtle. And I'll explain what that means in a short few. But my name is Jonathan Rosales. I am the author of Sea Turtle Mindset, a self-help book that I wrote about 3 years ago, and I published last year in 2017, and 2 years ago, 2017, and it's been a blessing to be able to spread my wisdom along my journey of self-discovery. And I just want to jump right into it. I just want to start this first podcast, first YouTube video about sea turtle mindset. And so I want to begin with the story behind the story. How did it all begin? So I went to the University of Rhode Island, and while I was there, I was doing civil engineering, and I hated it. I'll be honest with you. I hated every single thing about it. It wasn't me. I did a couple internships. I wasn't feeling it. And so what I did was I took a year off. I dropped out. I had no plans of going back, but I got bit by the entrepreneur bug, and I joined this idea. It has to do with travel, but at the same time, I also started doing Uber. And Uber was really my first taste of entrepreneurship. And one of the things that I realized while I was in the entrepreneur world was I needed to learn more. And so my boy actually gave me a book to read. He goes, John, if you want to be successful, you have to read about the industry you're trying to be successful in. And I said, it makes 100% sense. And I think I have the book. It's over there. It's called GoPro by Eric War. And it really opened my mind to self-development. And I really just exploded in it. And that year, from I think it was after May to December, I read like 35 books. Like I just started like just eating this information because all my life I was being spoon-fed information. Like I was going to school and they were telling me what to read. They were teaching me what I need to learn. And I never took initiative of learning for myself. So for the first time in my life, I started picking books that were interesting to me. For example, like I have this book right here. It's called The Mastery of Love by Don Miguel Ruiz. And so, books like this taught me about how to love people. Other books such as The Secret, it's a really nice book, but I don't want to get off topic. And so I took the year off. I was bit by the entrepreneur bug, right? And so what happened was I started learning how to read. And what I mean learning how to read is I was learning how to read based on the business that I wanted to do, based on the area of my life that I don't wanted to work on. And I started getting this wisdom. And then all of a sudden, I started getting wisdom that wasn't coming out of the books, but it was actually coming from within. And I was like, whoa, what's going on, right? So I wanted to learn more about it. And so I just kept on diving deep within myself. And I made up my own philosophy. And so I go back to school, and it's my senior year. Luckily, I wasn't going to finish engineering. I told my advisor, I say, look, I want to finish as soon as I can. And he goes, look, you've taken enough Spanish courses that you can literally graduate as a Spanish degree. I said, cool, let's do that because I want to get out. I only wanted my diploma for my parents, my grandma, especially my grandma. And so I did that. I finished college. And that senior year, I got inspired to write my book. I was in English 101. And the final assignment was to either do a short story or recite a poem. I was not going to recite a short poem because I was not going to be in the country. So I had to choose the short story. And so I literally looked down. I immediately, when I heard that, I was like, short story. I looked down and I had a turtle necklace and I lost it. But I had a turtle necklace, and I've always loved turtles because I'm a big believer in symbolism and things like that, you know. And so I always knew that turtles symbolize wisdom and longevity. So I Googled right in class. I remember Googling. I'm like, oldest turtle alive right now. And literally, I kid you not, a turtle named Jonathan. Coincidence? I think not. Pops up, and this turtle lives in St. Helena, an island off the west coast of Africa. And I'm like, this is crazy. So I don't know how I ended up deciding to write a short story of a sea turtle to go meet this turtle. So, but that's what the book's about. It's about a sea turtle who switched at birth, right? He's a sea turtle, but he's raised by land turtles. And he switched at birth, and he's raised to believe that he's a land turtle. And this story continues on, and as the story unravels itself, he starts to meet different creatures, right? He starts to meet different animals on his journey, and he learns different life lessons. So I literally have copies of the book. It's just crazy how, and this is a little sidetrack, how transformation can occur. You know, so I'm holding up for my podcast that I'm recording. I'm holding up a copy of the first original, like, cover, right? And then my boy hooked me up and made this cover, right? No, this is the second edition. This is the first edition, then the second edition. And so it's amazing how, you know, throughout life, this journey that we're in, we're always growing. It's all about growing. And so that's how it came about. And so the story goes, you know, the sea turtle, his name is Nori, and he switched at birth, like I said. And when he switched at birth, he starts being raised by these land turtles. And these land turtles teach him how to be a land turtle, right? So that's why I said in the beginning, everyone is born a sea turtle, but we're raised as land turtles. And what I mean by that is this, you know, land turtles are limited by their habitat. They can only go a certain length. So my message across today is, I don't want you to let your zip code hold you back. I'm going to repeat that again. I don't want you to let your zip code to hold you back. And the reason why I say that is because once I took a vacation, or I just took a trip out of my comfort zone, my mind expanded with, like, it was just crazy. So ever since I can remember, I was little, and my mom was always going back and forth to Guatemala, Miami, Guatemala, Miami, Disney. Same thing over and over for like 14 years, 15 years. And senior year, I decided to go to a different country. I said, nope, I'm not going back to Guatemala. I want to go to Costa Rica. And I thank God I did, because, you know, the first thing I learned in Costa Rica was this term, and it's called pura vida. And in Spanish, it means, in English, it means pure life, pura vida. In Costa Rica, pura vida is a term where they use to explain themselves when, like, let's say, for example, I say, hey, Melissa, I'm like, hey, how's your day going? You're like, pura vida. Or I told Souza, I'm like, hey, how was that soccer game? Oh, pura vida, bro. So everybody's like always using this term, pura vida, but I would have never learned that if I wouldn't have stepped out of my comfort zone and explored a different part of the world. So I want to move on from the story behind the story to the next topic that I want to do, was the purpose behind this book. You know, a lot of people, and I don't know, this is just me assuming, you know, a lot of people think that I wrote this book to be popular or to gain this attention, but it was the main reason for me to write this book was because I was learning so much. And I wish that I can learn all these concepts in one book, the concepts that I felt were important in my life for my journey at that time. Some of the concepts that I speak about in the book is focus. You know, he meets an octopus, and the octopus teaches him how to focus. You know, him having multiple tentacles, right, multiple arms, he asks him, hey, you can multitask, right? But the octopus says, yes, my ability to multitask is greater than yours because you got 4 arms, and for us, we only got 2 arms. He's like, but my ability to focus is much, much greater than me to half-ass, excuse my language, multiple things all at once. So little things like that throughout my life is what I started incorporating in the book. Another thing was Are you a land turtle or sea turtle? You know, we're raised to believe with a limiting belief that our environment is all we got. And I'm telling you right now, our environment is, you must change your environment so that you can have more out of life. And what I mean by that is, just because you're surrounded by negative, toxic people doesn't mean you have to be a negative, toxic person. That means you just got to change your environment, step out of that environment, and surround yourself with positive, uplifting, loving people. And all of a sudden, you become positive, uplifting, and loving as well. So, you know, it really comes to the idea of determining what mindset you want. You have two choices. You either can be positive or negative. See, we live in a world of duality. There's a north, there's a south, there's a positive, there's a negative. There's good, there's evil, there's great, there's bad. Which one do you want? It takes a simple choice, and either or you choose is the same amount of effort. So what I mean by that is, if you choose to be good, the amount of effort that you're choosing to be good is equal to the amount of effort that you're choosing to be bad. So it comes down to what mindset you want. Do you want a growth mindset or do you want a fixed mindset? Personally, I believe that we resemble the earth. We're always constantly growing. So why not continue to grow as a person, as a lover, as a son, as a daughter? We can grow to be a better version than we were yesterday. So that was the purpose of my book, was that if you can take this book, this is really probably like 60 books all in one. And the reason why I say that is because I read so many books, I made my own philosophy of success. And I want to promote, there's three things that I want to promote in this book. One is travel. It's a story of a sea turtle who's traveling the world, and along the way, he learns different lessons. So, you know, a lot of people say the world's like a book, and those who do not travel only learn from one page, they only read one page. I totally agree with that. So if you haven't traveled out of the state, just go to New York City. I was 21 years old and I hadn't gone to New York City. Why? Because my mom was a little overprotective in school, and she never took us to New York City. Why? Because, you know, all you see is negative things in the news about New York City. But I went to New York City and I fell in love, you know. So I want, first and foremost, I want this book to inspire travel within, because the world is your environment. The whole world. This thing is huge. Providence is only, and I'm from Providence, Rhode Island, it's 47 miles up in north, 37 miles wide. I'm pretty sure we can travel a little bit further than that. So that's the first thing I wanted. That's the purpose of the book, was to inspire you to travel. The second thing was the lifestyle of learning and growing. You see, I realized after college, I was going to continue to be a student. Regardless of being teachers, you know, books became my teachers. My mentors became my teachers. Even my best friends became my teachers, you know. So you have to embrace that lifestyle of always learning and growing, and embracing that, because we're students, you know. The more you learn, the more you earn, not just financially, but you earn spiritually. You earn in the area of love. You just earn more value from whatever you want to learn from. So that's what another thing I wanted to inspire was, you know, learning more. After you read this book, I hope you pick up other books. So Sea Turtle Mindset also has a book club. So I started doing this where I started reading books, giving my analogy of it. Another thing that I also incorporated in the book was, you know, these YouTube channels where I talk about the chapter. You know, so many times I've read books and I wanted to literally ask the author what he meant by this chapter. And most of the people that I read are, you know, they passed away and I can't reach them. But some of them actually left, you know, videos talking about their books and explaining more. I've read books myself where I've heard the audios of the books and they went more in depth. So that was the purpose of the book, is to get to know me and have a different, what's it called? I'm looking for the word. A different experience reading a book. I wanted you to experience this the way I wanted to experience, you know. Read the book, take your notes, because I have a section for notes as well. Take your personal notes, and then go check out the video where I explain more in depth of the why I use the names that I use. I'll give you an example. I don't know if you've gotten to this chapter yet, But my favorite chapter is chapter 5. The chapter where he meets the octopus is about focus. I feel that in my life right now, and in my life in the last 4 years has been all about focusing, and I've been focusing on myself a lot. And not to be selfish, I just been learning to grow, to love myself, to learn how to interact with people, just focusing on who I am and how I can become a better version of myself. So that chapter really resonates with me. So the name of the octopus is Zamarat. And Zamarat, here's a fun fact, Zamarat actually means to focus in a different language. I don't remember what language I chose. I think it's Swedish, or I don't know. I don't know. But it means to focus. That name Zamarat means to focus. But the only way you would have learned is if you would have went to this YouTube channel, right? So there's a little cool things that I wanted to add in the book to give you a different experience. I didn't want to make the book boring. Some people just read it. It's a short story. I always tell people this: if you read The Alchemist, you're gonna love this book. And I know that's a bold statement, but I feel that my book is really the 21st century alchemist, and that's really my goal, and that's my vision of the book. And then the third thing that I want to really promote in the book itself is spread the wisdom. I know everyone has their own story. Everyone has their own wisdom in themselves, and so I appreciate that everyone has their wisdom, and I want to hear it. And that's the purpose of this podcast. And we're going to jump right in. And the thing that I wanted to do was I wanted to explore different mindsets, because I believe that we're all sea turtles. We're in a world where the ocean is the most unexplored location. The ocean is the most unexplored habitat of the whole world. 70% of the world is covered by water, the ocean. We resemble the earth. We have 70% of our body is water. So if you really think about the world and us, we're a microcosm of the world. So I wanted to embrace that and say, you have to dive within. And I wanted to make this podcast a podcast of mindsets. I'm going to interview people who are following their passion, who are following their calling, in whatever calling. I'm not thinking about financial requirements. I'm not talking about physical requirements. I want to interview people who love what they do, who love their job, or they love their passion, they love their side hustle, they love their hobby, and I want to interview them about their mindset. So that's what this whole new podcast is all about. The Sea Turtle Mindset is going to be every single Wednesday. I'm going to interview people of all walks of life, all different ages. I'm interviewing a 7-year-old who just got into the country about 3 weeks ago, and his story is crazy. He was telling me about being in a trailer for 48 hours, and he couldn't even use the bathroom. What kind of mindset is this little young boy going to have when he's 25? So it's all walks of life. So this is the interviews that I'm going to have in this podcast. And so, that's really what this podcast is all about. All these YouTube videos, all these interviews are really going to be about, the mindset. How, what kind of mindset do you have? How do you focus? Or how is it? So one of the next speakers that I have next week is my boy Payday Pedro. And he's a mobile entrepreneur, and what he talks about is all about the 3 freedoms. So we started a group called the 3 freedoms. Time freedom, do what you want, whenever you want, however long you want. The second freedom is location freedom. Do what you want, wherever you want, no matter how long you want, in different parts of the world. And the third one is financial freedom. Have as much as you make as much money to the point that you don't have to worry about paying rent. You don't have to worry about checking your bank account balance when you're at dinner, right? You don't have to worry about that. Those are 3 freedoms. So that interview is going to be the mindset of how he got that, because he has that. And it took him 4 years. And he's the guy who gave me my first book, Go Pro, the book that I highly recommend to everyone. And in the book, and this is why I recommend it, is because in the book it says you must become a student of self-development. And that's what I literally became. I became a student of self-development, and that's what this book is about. This book is a self-development, self-help book. And so that's all about it. And the sea turtle mindset, people ask me all the time, what's the sea turtle mindset, you know? And I put it right in the beginning, right in the introduction. I go, the sea turtle mindset is having the consistency and the persistency on your decisions. I'll repeat that again. The sea turtle mindset is having the consistency and the persistency on your decisions. And as long as you do that, that mindset of repetition, it all of a sudden becomes second nature. So whenever you're learning to do something for the first time, you might suck at it at first. And it's cool. It's the learning curve, you know, it's the learning process. But as you continue to be consistent and continue to be persistent and keep repeating the action over and over and over and over again, you gain the natural talent of whatever you're learning to do. For example, I love soccer. I did not know how to kick a ball when I first started kicking a ball, and I had to keep kicking the ball until I learned how to curve, until I learned how to pass, until I learned how to control. You know, but that didn't happen overnight. It happened over repetition. It happened with consistency of me hitting the gym, going to soccer games. It happened with me being persistent when people told me I sucked, when people told me, John, you have no idea how to play, and it's all good, because I did not let that those negative thoughts, those negative opinions of people affect my mindset of continue to grow. And now I consider myself a really good player. I can hold it down. My boy Souza on Instagram Live, he can agree. I be holding it down a little. So with that being said, you know, I want to close this out. I want to make these short videos, 22 minutes. We're already past the 22 mark. You know, TED Talks scientifically say 18 minutes is a short attention span. So I want to keep these interviews short so you can be you can pay attention the whole time. So I want to close out by saying thank you for those who are listening right now live, for those who will watch me later on my YouTube, and for those who are listening to the podcast in the future. And so I really appreciate you. I really appreciate you taking the time, especially out of your day, to listen to this. Sosa goes, no, man, no Balkan show. He's just kidding. He knows I can beg him. But it's all good. Anyways, I want to say thank you. And for those who have not already subscribed to my YouTube channel, it's Sea Turtle Mindset on YouTube. Go subscribe. There's multiple videos. This is the first episode of the Sea Turtle Mindset podcast. Also, if you haven't purchased a book, let me know. Hit me up in the DMs. I actually have some copies myself, or you can order them on Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, any of your major bookstores online. They also have them. If you're a Kindle person, it's on Kindle. If you're iBooks, it's on iBooks. With that being said, you know, next week's episode, like I said, it's going to be Payday Pedro. Payday. It's going to be fire. He's going to be talking about the mindset of the 3 freedoms: financial freedom, location freedom, time freedom. He's going to talk about the mindset of automating your business, automating your money. It's going to be exciting. I'm excited. 2019, for those who started with the rough, if you started the year off rough, if you ended the year off rough, it's a new slate, baby. Every day is a new blessing. It's the mindset of growth and faith. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. I will see you in the next episode of Sea Turtle Mindset Podcast. Talk to you soon. Peace out. We out. We're going to play some music while we cut this out. Got some nice music going on, you know. Oh, yeah. The first podcast is done. It's over. It sounds lit. I like it. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We out here. We out here growing. Peace out. We out here diving deep, son. We out here exploring. Travel the world. Get out there. Get out your comfort zone. Don't let your zip code hold you back from exploring, expanding your mind, expanding these amazing horizons that we have out here. So with that being said, Sea Turtle Mindset, remember, be consistent, be persistent, have faith, and continue to grow, learn, spread the wisdom. Peace out.